Hey, how's it going, guys? My name is Badamja, and me and G's are going to be doing a race here. So all mirror shards is essentially it's kind of unique. It's a category in Twilight Princess that starts like after the midway point of the game. So you start after Midna's Desperate Hour with the Master Sword, and the goal is to get all the mirror shards, which entails the later dungeons of the game, including Arbiter's Grounds, Snow Peak Ruins, Temple of Time, and City of the Sky. So I'm going to be starting and doing that category, and G's is going to be doing something a little bit different. I'll have him explain the category that he's doing specifically, but he's going to be doing the IL specific variant of that, 100% ILs of each of
So
those
in Twilight
dungeons.
Princess, the Isles are basically the individual dungeons one by one, and while Bodam will have to do the proper category running back between dungeons, I will simply use save files to go through them and complete them at 100%, which means getting every chest, beat the boss, get the item, and it's a weird oddity with these ILs is that you need to complete the minimap. So sometimes you will see me just go to one place and save and quit just because I needed the map of this room. It's very interesting. We'll see how it goes.
It's going to be a lot of fun.
And today, for the commentary, we'll have Anno and Cass.
I am Anarakis, and I run this game.
I am Cass, and I also run this game.
All right.
Yeah.
We will be getting started soon. I'll count the runners down. Go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Good luck.
So, good luck, have fun. Both of these categories have quite the history. As Badab just said, we start sort of at the midway point for all mirror shards. All mirror shards was sort of meant as a practice for these dungeons in all dungeons, but the all dungeons run no longer has the same things at this point, so it's sort of become its own thing. And also to note, at the start of this run, you saw G's getting a couple of chests that are normally blocked by suits of armor, and that is because the suits of armor weren't there because of something called early boss flags, which we're able to start the ILs with. For some reason, they just get rid of the armor there.
Yeah, it's so weird that that's what it's linked to. So I'm going to be doing a trick called Map Glitch to ascend Snow Peak. So what you're supposed to do is you're not supposed to be able to access Snow Peak yet, because once you beat Arbiter's Grounds and raise the mirror, it spawns Ashe, and from there you're supposed to get the sketch from Ashe and then go fishing to get the reekfish scent. But I'm going to Snow Peak first, so I'm not going to be able to do that. So how it works is if you don't have the scent, there's a bunch of these load zones that block you from ascending Snow Peak. But if I do Map Glitch, which is where I pull the map and try to warp away, but I also call mid down the same frame, and it's going to interrupt the warp sequence, and the load zones are going to be disabled. That's going to let me pretty much go wherever I want. If I wanted to, I could have just turned around and fell into the void because there's no load zone there, but can use it to ascend Snow Peak. And luckily there's a really convenient Howling Stone up here, and Howling Stones aren't affected by Map Glitch, so I can just simply go into this Howling Stone and then leave immediately, and yeah, then I can proceed on.
Yeah, and while climbing Snow Peak, we saw G's do a moon boots to get onto a block. That's a really neat technique to put on the magic armor while you're gaining height and then take it off. And that gives a little bit of height, letting us get on that block and to this section early. Also walked by a door to get a map piece, as was mentioned earlier.
And also notice that G started with the magic armor and a precise amount of rupee. It should have been to precisely get your rupee amounts to 0 just when you want to do the backslash moon boots, because the magic armor gives you the same properties as the iron boots, but sadly he bonked, so we had to unequip the iron boots and re-equip them.
Yeah, and of course, individual levels, we're able to start the run with any equipment that we can get before the dungeon, which happens to be pretty much everything, because Snow Peak Ruins is not required to beat the game, except for in Palace. So we can get pretty much anything we want, and we make use of quite a few things. Bedamja will be starting snowboarding here, because it's faster to skip the portal fight here. We end up doing snowboarding blind, or rather, just through the fog.
Yeah, yeah. The trigger for this fog disappearing. It's not supposed to be this foggy here. That's tied to the getting the Snow Peak portal, which I'm never going to be using, so might as well just skip it. It's not too hard for most of it. But there's a few sections where it is a little bit sketchy unless you you've practiced the pathing before. So hopefully I don't void, but we'll see. And you also might notice that on GameCube version, but not Wii and HD, it gets rid of the rupees on the path. So there's not going to be any rupees here, but it also isn't going to matter for me, because the only purchase I'm going to be making in this category is the cannon. And this file already starts with 300 rupees, so something that's kind of nice about this category is I don't have to worry about rupees at all, and don't have to worry too much about bombs. I will be using all the bombs I can, and if I do it optimally, should only have a few left over. Yeah, not having to worry about that is nice, but I do have to worry about health, and I especially have to worry about health in Snow Peak, where I'm wearing the Zora armor, because I'm going to be taking a 10 times damage modifier with the Zora armor from, elemental damage, so like fire and ice. But it actually kind of works out, because I do want to be on low health, as we'll see in about 30 minutes.
That's another difference between this and all dungeons, is this run also starts with 30 bombs, which normally we'd have used quite a few at this point, and particularly we would have water bombs in a normal run right after mid-assist per hour. But the bomb management is a bit more lenient in this than all dungeons. IL stands for individual level, so G's is doing just the 4 dungeons standalone, not doing the parts between the dungeons.
Alright,
so
go ahead, sorry.
Bedamja's just starting Snow Peak Ruins, and G's is about halfway through, now has the ball and chain.
So right now I'm doing a trick called ladder freezer cancel, so I'm not supposed to be able to get up this ladder. But if I do a frame perfect drop, and then a somewhat precise but pretty lenient drop after that, I can trick this freezer into doing its temporary attack instead of its infinite attack, and I can simply get past it. Then if I manipulate this, or make this freezer turn a little bit, I can simply clip behind it. I can't just... So... Oops, don't split there. In TP, loads don't just exist behind doors. You do have to open the doors. But luckily with this one, right after we click behind, we can actually open that door from the other side to get into this spot earlier.
And that's the point that G's mentioned before, of save warping in a room that we don't need anything in except for the map. So G's will be starting back at the start of the dungeon, and because we've beaten Darkhammer, early boss flags is no longer active, and the suits of armor are there again, so we can get this bow. And there's another pro in here, and I think I will be going to the heart piece next, which was the start of the dungeon for Bedamja, and now a little bit later for G's. Good question, you done goofed. Why do we wear the Zora armor even though it's 10 times damage? Bedamja will be needing to take damage for a trick later. but also it's just faster to swim with the Zora armor, which we'll be doing a little bit of in the run on the way to Armor's Grounds. So it's easier to just start with the Zora armor, take whatever damage we need to, and save a couple of seconds not having to switch to it when we have to swim.
Dunja, did you start with all your hearts? I didn't notice. Or did you start with 6?
Oh shit. Yeah, I'm gonna have to do that again. Oops. Yeah, so sometimes that, so grabs in this game from midair are RNG, whether you get a one-hand or two-hand grab, and how fast that freezer turns is also RNG. Shit.
G's got the LGA that I always found
I'm gonna die
really
again.
tricky first
fine.
run. So that's neat. Just cleaning up the last couple of chests and this last room that we need for the map. Well, there's one more map piece that we still need for G's.
Alright, so I messed up and I died, then you might have noticed I died again there. And the reason I did that is because this bomb boost does, I actually, 4, 5, I accidentally didn't get out of the way of the freezer quick enough after respawning. And like I got some extra damage by it, and this bomb boost does a half heart. There's not really a great way to get health quickly from that spot, so I just thought dying was the best option there. So hopefully I don't mess up this part again.
As we know, Snow Peak Ruins is full of hearts anywhere. So be eerie if you could.
Yeah, I need to be wary if I could die.
Is there any heart somewhere?
Normally in this dungeon you'd get the hearts from Yeto's soup,
Oh
but
yeah.
it's a little slow to go back there. Even though G's is getting all of the parts for the soup, we don't go and finish it.
Yeah. Also, I'm sorry. To answer your question, I start with 6.5 hearts. I think it's technically optimal. Shit. I messed up this room. It's technically optimal to start with 6. I just, I plan to take some extra damage here. Ah.
Yeah, and even if you don't, I guess you can just get a hit. Do you get hit by the Moldorms in your routes?
By the Moldorms, I kind of play it by ear. If I take the correct amount of damage, then I need to take like one Moldorm hit, I believe.
Yeah.
Right, we have both runners in the same room now.
Let's go.
Getting the bedroom key, and Banamji getting the 2-frame side hop to skip a little bit of mid text there.
Nice.
On our way, we go to the boss of Snow Peak Ruins. Cass, do you want to talk us through that?
This is an interesting boss. The phase 1 is pretty... I mean, it's probably, in my opinion, it's one of the hardest boss because it's not RNG, but it's very hard to understand what's going to happen. So what you need to do is to hit Zeta, the boss, with the ball and chain a couple times, and she bounces off the wall. And sometimes, if you don't do it properly, you can just go very far. As you can see, Bedamja did it very well. And then on the phase 2, we have we're supposed to have 3 phases, or like 3 hits, but the way we do it, we can skip and do it in only 1 shot. I mean, we hit Splazetta 3 times, but in only 1.
I think at least G's will be trying to hit some of these blocks of ice to reduce the number that need to fall down at slightly speed up the cycle. Comes with slight risks, but it is generally faster.
Oh, I never thought about the
Yeah.
fact that we make it faster.
Yeah, that strat is sick. I don't go for it, but I always like watching G's do it.
And looks like...
Nice.
Oh, nice. Just barely getting that third hit.
Ooh. That's sick.
Both runners now done with the boss of Snow Peak Ruins. The IL timing ends on touching the portal, or in one case in this run, the loading zone to leave the dungeon. So I imagine we'll see G's restart and head on to the next dungeon immediately, while we'll be seeing Badamja need to run a bit. Also,
See if I can get a gainer here.
G's will need to get the heart container.
Oh, let's
Are you going for it as well, Badamja? No,
I'm going to be skipping it, yeah.
But there is a one frame backflip that can get us a little bit closer to the heart container. And
Nice.
both runners got it? Look into Eyes of Yedo.
Yedo-wise.
Infinite's mirror.
Schau in meine Augen. So the order of the dungeons in all Mirror Shards and also the order that G's will be doing starts with Snow Peak, then goes to Arbiter's Grounds, then City in the Sky, and then Temple of Time. This just ends up being the fastest way, having the fewest requirements to get between the dungeons. We have to beat Snow Peak Ruins before getting to Temple of Time, but the casual intended way is to do Arbiter's Grounds first. So that's the IL done for G's. We'll be heading immediately to Arbiter's Grounds.
And also the reason why we end with Temple of Time is because it's the slowest dungeon to exit. So we don't want to do it before because it just ends on the prompt, so there's no reason to exit.
Right, yeah, like after Temple of Time, it's not like the other dungeons where you're like already leave once you touch the portal. With that one, it's like you go back into the actual, like, you know, the Temple of Time place.
Grove in the past,
yeah. And then you have to
I
exit
think
that.
Arbiter's Grounds probably has the largest differences between these two runs. Notably, Badamja will be doing a trick that skips the entire first half of the dungeon, but G's will have to go through and collect all of the pos and chests in there. And also, another requirement is G's will have to fight Stallard because the IL needs the heart container, and I believe Badamja is going for Stallard skip.
I will be, yeah.
So lots to see in this dungeon. Although Badamja does have to get there.
Yeah.
We have to get the Aru's memo. And right after that is the reason why we really want the Zora armor on in the first place. To swim to the cannon, which is slightly faster than dashing.
Yeah. Even if I weren't starting with the Hero's Tunic, or sorry, even if I started with the Hero's Tunic, it would be faster to equip Zora armor just for this. Just a lot faster to take the water here if you have it. Yeah. And that's basically the reason we start with that.
So notice that Jesus is doing Poen, and in a couple minutes he will be doing Poen skip. Thing that we don't do anymore in the categories that do skip Poen because of a kind of new trick that we'll see soon from the dungeon.
Yeah, I suppose Po 1 skip is now a completely obsolete name. That's
Yes. Well,
incredible.
still do Po 1 skip, we just also do Po 2, 3, and 4 skip.
There are a couple of chests in this main room. This one has a harp piece, I believe. Yeah. Uh, which the ILs will also be starting with various amounts of health, just depending on what is needed. I think of these dungeons, Snow Peak ends up starting with the most because we can take damage from quite a few things in there.
Yeah. So I was being careful with my pathing there to intentionally take damage from one molder in there. I could have done 2, but that means I would have been in a quarter heart. And I'd rather be in a half heart.
Yeah, the requirement for Badamja is just to be at 1 heart or below.
Yeah. Oh,
He's
no.
now getting the second bow. Another thing, it is required in this run in the ILs to get all of the small keys and to get all of the chests, but it is not required to use them. I believe we'll be skipping one of them. Skipping one use of the small key in this dungeon.
So I'm going to be doing that same trick I used at the start of the run called map glitch, where I disable load zones. And this King Bulbin 3 fight trigger does not check for height, so it's effectively infinitely high. So I could just go below it to trigger it, just like this. That should be fine. That was kind of weird though. Okay, yeah, we're good.
Thanks for not soft locking yourself. Do not die to King Bulbin 3, please. Did not die to King Bulbin 3. Because map glitch disables loading zones, if you game over here, the game will not reload.
Yeah,
So,
and the game over
slightly
screen
considerable.
shows up, but there's no yes or no prompt, I believe. So you just, yeah, just a soft lock.
You can click yes,
Oh,
but
it just doesn't
do anything.
Yeah, yeah, okay.
Yeah. Jeez is currently in a room that we have not seen in most glitch speedruns for quite a long time. Ending up doing a LJA to a chandelier, and then probably skipping this redead up here because it just sort of stands up and we can be out of there before it does anything.
I call it the DLC room because you never see it anywhere. Beside this category and Hundo Plus, I guess.
Yeah, Hundo Plus goes in here. Glitchless also does.
Oh yeah.
I do find this is the third pose room. I find this room from this side to be a lot more difficult than from the other side.
Yeah.
Mostly because the redeads are already looking in your direction.
Although with the Great Spin, it's not that bad. When you get there in rando and don't have Great Spin, it's very awkward. Because no matter what you use, you usually get stunned by the redead at some point.
Yeah. There are decent strats with bomb arrows and with the ball and chain. But using the ball and chain comes with the risk of if you're holding the ball and chain over some sand, you will sink immediately. But that was a pretty clean Po3 room for G's.
Yep.
We're coming up on a fairly new trick for Badamja. The trick that we've been referring to that skips Po1, Po2, and Po3. This trick is really cool. It's called Po-Gate Skip.
Yeah, this trick is really cool. So, gonna watch a quick cutscene real quick, and then right after that, we'll immediately get started on the trick. So, as Anna was saying, this is pretty new, and yeah, it's pretty cool. So basically, what we do is we take these bubbles, and we're gonna lure them up to the gate, and we're gonna claw shot them in such a way that they get clipped inside of the gate. And there's actually a little enclosure right behind the gate where the bubbles can hop around forever, and they'll always be there until you, like, as long as you're in the room and don't kill them. So we can clip those bubbles behind the gate, then we can use a step clip to get out of bounds on this little bit of collision out of bounds, and then there's a very, very thin seam, paper thin seam, that we can walk across if we're in the perfect position. But luckily we do have a setup to get into that position, so that part's not too hard. So the hardest part is actually at the end, and as we were talking about earlier, that Jeez was using earlier, it's called moon boots, and the highest form of moon boots that you can possibly do is called an ending blow of moon boots. So ending blow is the attack where Link does a big like high jump, and then like a stab into the ground. It's pretty good bubble
Nice
clips.
bubble clips.
Thanks.
Yep.
And you can get, that gets a lot of height on its own, but you can get even more height with the, if you combine that with moon boots. If you throw the boomerang at the bubbles and then basically just wait until they get into the correct spot, which can be a pain in the ass sometimes, but we'll see how it goes.
As Badem just said, this seam is very, very thin. I wouldn't be surprised if we did the math if it is thinner than paper.
Oh yeah.
So, getting into a precise position and getting an angle to be able to clip into the spot. And we'll be walking very straight along this seam. If I remember correctly, it was 0.007 units or something like that.
Yeah, I think it's
Barely exists at all. And now we'll be trying to boomerang the bubbles and then do them moon boots
So,
if the bubble can get into position.
so yeah.
If a bubble hits Badamja afterward,
Could have gone for it there.
then at just half a heart, I think.
I'll be fine at half
Did
a
these
heart.
only go a quarter heart?
Yeah, I only use the quarter as human.
We'll be fine. Meanwhile, on the other side, G's just got the fourth Poe, and we'll be heading through the Poe gate pretty soon.
Nice.
And that's
Nice.
the first try for Badamja, and pretty clean too.
GG's.
Thanks.
This rig is. I wouldn't say. Nah, I think it's much harder on GameCube than it is on Wii.
Yes, that's correct.
Because on Wii you have. It's not. There's an easy way of clipping the bubbles in the gates by throwing the boomerang. It's. I don't know how consistent it is, but it's definitely less precise.
It is
And
less.
also,
yeah. It's easier.
Also,
Go
there's
ahead, sorry.
one more frame for the moon boots. Sorry.
Yeah, and that's the main.
Yeah. Yeah. The main
Main
thing.
reason why it's easier.
So on GameCube, if you tried to, actually, we'll share this first. So this is actually another instance of step clip. I think the first useful one for most categories, other than KB2 skip, was found. It's called triple Stalfo skip. So I can get it here. Nice. This one's. Oh wow. Okay. Where am I looking?
Yeah, it's a strange angle.
So basically, how those step clips work is, if you have when Link does a little step up animation, which only works for walls of certain height, so it can't be too high or if it's too short, he'll just like run over it. If it's too high, he'll do like a big climb up animation. But if he does a step up animation, then for whatever reason, go ahead.
G's just fell down all the way. Was trying to do a jump slash to get into an alcove, but we'll want to, I think, turn the thing to get back up, unless there's a good backup on this shot. But Badamja will now be going for Death Sword skip, which we get Death Sword in this corner. That's unfortunate RNG. Hopefully,
Got that.
getting that hard, that's okay. We'll just have to take a little bit more damage.
Very nice.
Pretty precise trick. Nice to see that getting first try as well. So G's got a small key there. This small key goes to the bottom of this room, but we don't need to go into the next room from this side. So we're just not going to use that small key.
So now Benamja is taking damage. We could save warp, that's what we used to do. But with Pogate skip, we would need to do Pogate skip again. So we just want to exit the Deathward room, and we're gonna do the Epic Spinner room to go to Standard.
Ooh, that is the Wii direction.
I'm a little curious to see how G's approaches the triple stealth skip and that sword skip. I imagine because we had to get the pose in the first half of the dungeon, we won't be death wolfing. We would do the save warp afterward. But there are a couple of chests to get in the Epic Spinner room first.
I'm also pretty sure that G's is gonna do triple self skip differently than than Benamja, and also another way of doing the sword skip.
Yeah, just the Jads is really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, just the Jeds, or jump strength, long jump attack, death sword skip. We'll get to that in a minute. But G's still needs to get the map for this room down here. There is also an Uku down here, but that is not necessary for the IL. So we'll just enter this room and leave it.
Little tiny optimization you can do. Excuse me. At each of these spinner rails, if you spin the spinner, you actually get on a tiny bit earlier. I think it saves like 2 frames on average for each one. Yeah. A lot of small things
G's
in this
did
game
do
like that.
the triple stealth skip. At the
Ah,
same
yeah.
way. There is also a way to do it with moon boots, but it uses the magic armor, and you have 86 rupees at this point in this run, so
Oh,
it
yeah.
wasn't so ideal.
I didn't notice that.
So
I wonder if it would even be faster coming, like, assuming you have 0 rupee when you get there. I'm not sure it would be much faster than doing the step clip.
I think it would be faster because you don't have to do the claw shot. But
Yeah,
I'm
that's
not
right.
Sure. So G's now doing Gisel Jads, getting into a pretty precise position, and then we'll be doing a jump strike, long jump attack, which lets us angle our long jump attacks and gives us a little extra height to get onto the ledge without even starting the death sword fight. And Padamja is doing Salad Skip, which, as Spicy Juice said, is the 3rd trick originally thought of as task only in this run. Specifically for this part, the CAD, Claw Shot Actor Displacement, to get this stall troop into this corner. Nice first try. Clipping into the wall and then trying to do a bomb boost with the stall troop to get through.
Nice.
Nice.
That was ringless, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Very
Fast.
nice. Very nice Arbiter's Grounds for Padamja.
Thank you. Oh, I did it again.
Meanwhile, G's has now finished Death Sword and did that save warp to the start of the dungeon. There's pretty much only Stallard to do left in the dungeon, which G's will be fighting Stallard instead of skipping.
So because the name of the category is all mirror shards, not only you need to beat the dungeons, but you need to get the mirrors. So for this reason, Benamja will be raising the mirror, which technically gives you the mirror. Otherwise, he could just have warped after bidding started. I mean, skipping started.
Yeah, after... Because normally you wouldn't even get this portal in this category, because we're not doing Palace of Twilight. But, yeah, as Cass was saying, you don't get the Mirror Shard unless you do that. So we do have to get the portal and raise the mirror. Now we'll be doing Early City in the Sky, which I believe is the biggest sequence break in the game. And yeah.
Yeah, I think it is. Skips a large section of gameplay. Makes it so we can do City in the Sky before Temple of Time, which is relevant to this run.
Right.
And also before doing the Ilia's memory quest, which is quite long and tedious. And it's a trick they tried to patch out of the HD version, and they failed to do that. Which is incredible. Just walk at that statue at an angle, and transform wolf, and dash, and click through.
Congrats.
On Jesus' side, we're doing the Stallard fight. Do you want to talk us through that, Cass?
This fight is painful.
Yes, it is.
It is arguably harder than Starred Skip. Well, in fact, it's not harder, but there's a lot of RNG of where the stall troops spawn. So in that case, G's he couldn't bonk on anything and go to the stall troops. So on phase 1, you want to hit the spine 3 times. The first one is free because there's almost no stealth troop on the way. The second is easy, and the last one, there's a wall of stealth troops that blocks you from going to the spine. Now Sarad is dead, unless he comes back for a second phase. And this phase is definitely the easiest, because we have a way of knocking down Sarad very fast, without having to do all the spinning around in the room, and we can also one cycle with the Master Sword, which is very convenient.
I think most scholars would agree that Stallard was dead the whole time.
Yeah.
Just reanimated by Xanth's sword.
Fortunately, we can quick spin on GameCube, which makes the one cycle pretty easy, which is not the case on Wii, and
It
it's
is
much
possible
harder.
on Wii, but it's
Yeah.
very
Yeah. You have to do a lot of combos. And on GameCube we can just spin. Also, G's has the great spin, so it's completely free.
And the IL timing for Arbor's Grounds ends on touching the loading zone to leave this room. We don't have to raise the mirror, like all mirror shards or anything.
We get to see Uku for the first time in this run.
And hopefully the last. Well, I suppose we'll still see Uku even if
Yeah,
we
hopefully-
manage to skip her in Temple of Time.
Hopefully that's the last time he talks to us, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. City in the Sky tends to not have floor in a lot of places, and that makes it really easy to do long jump attacks, which are done by throwing the boomerang and pulling out the sword and pressing A when the boomerang is either over a void or over ground that's above you. So we'll be seeing quite a few of those in this dungeon. Badamja also doing a transform there to skip a trigger for the fan at the top of this room, which we'll be going back through later. And Jesus about to do my favorite part of this IL, going into the shop. Which is part of the map, but we don't need anything in there, so go in there and leave.
I'm pretty sure he's not gonna do it, but is small key skip useful in this category for G's?
We need to get the small key.
Yeah.
And if we do small key skip, that means that the Argarok cutscene trigger is active even when we're in the
Oh, yeah.
rooms immediately above
Ooh,
the
yeah.
normal small key room. So I do not think that the small
Yeah,
key skip is useful at all.
Probably
in this
not.
category.
He could do it and then go back and get the small key.
Now is Badamja doing small key skip? Pause. Channel.
Surely.
Surely, the task only trick. Well, task
You've
only
already
without
done 3 so
instance.
far.
That is true. That's a good point.
He's transforming a little bit further away from the door, needing to wiggle closer.
Oh wow.
That I'm surprised that wasn't able to be opened sooner. To skip that fan. So Badamja will be doing a trick here to skip the Argarak cutscene. Just a little bit of parkour in this railing. That cutscene, as I said, is active anytime you have a small key in this dungeon. So we'll need to do it on both sides.
Yeah, that Argarot cutscene, not only does it obviously you don't want to watch the cutscene because it's long, but also it also updates your save position, and it's so my save position right now, because yeah, my save position right now is actually where I got that first small key. So when I save warp now, because I skipped that cutscene, I'll actually respawn back there, which is also more convenient, just to getting back to Argarok, or getting to the main room where I get the boss key and then go to Argarok. So it also saves time on that.
I guess it's the main time save. I'm not sure.
I think the main is probably, I think the cutscene is like a minute, right, or something.
I think it's the whole thing that is a minute. I'm
The
not
Oh.
sure.
cutscene's only about half a minute.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you might be right then.
It might be just even.
Oh, geez, not even pulling up the camera, just doing the jump
Going fast.
immediately.
It's Taiwan.
I think it's fair to say that Jeez is pretty much the undisputed champion of ILs in Twilight Princess, has world records in most of them.
Oh
So,
yeah, I think all of the 100
very good
zones,
at
I think, right?
I think so, except for kiosk demo.
Oh.
We don't talk about kiosk demo. Yeah, Jeez has the record in all of the 100% ILs.
Oh,
There
there's
are a few
another
extra-
Uku.
Yeah, well, a few more Yokus.
Yes, this is the Uku City. There are a few extra chests that Jeez will be needing to get on the way to the mini boss of this dungeon. Well, Banamja can just go straight there. Doing a trick right here called Uku Jump, where we just skip a fan by jumping straight to the ledge we'd be going to with it.
Oh wait, I can't hit the jump.
I guess we'll see G's do it. But what you can do here is just skip the Uku by doing a precise jump. But you need to have 2 hearts. I mean, more than 2 hearts to survive the
Yeah.
fall damage.
Also, shout out to the Wii version, which recently got a new trick. Discovered by Spicy Juice, actually, where you can clip through a certain gate in City. It saves like over a minute. You can only do it on Wii and HD. But yeah, really cool trick.
He's getting some love from the keys here. And Banamja doing a setup to go straight through that gate.
Yeah, badly placed claw shot medallion right there. Very, very specific angle, but luckily there's a setup you can do to get to it pretty quickly using the same technique that we used for Stellar Skip to get the angle.
Nice mill.
Yeah, just had to.
But I'm
Just
just
had to look
stopping to
over
read
it.
fan mail.
All the RAF comments.
I believe G's will also be skipping the fan in the next room, doing the Yuku jump.
Oops.
But there are 2 or 3 chests we'll need to go to this room, so it's a different cycle. Just 2 chests in this room. And as said before, Benamja spawned back at the small key chest, which is a little bit faster getting back to this main room. And now we'll be going up through the fan that we skipped earlier.
That is a pretty big sequence break as well.
Oh yeah, this one's pretty big.
I don't remember how long City 2 is if you just skip everything, but it has to be at least like 2 minutes.
Yeah, I think that trick saves somewhere between 2 and 3 minutes.
Yeah.
It was found back in 2015.
And then
Like
Kai
Dragon
Clip,
Bait?
which saves 15, I think.
It's like 8.
And oh, 8. Yeah.
Yeah, I think what we used to do is just go outside and somewhat precise vine claw shot, and then do an LGA. But yeah,
And a lot of flag.
true.
G's now doing this LJA over to this side, and we'll be going straight to the Air Alpha skip from there. Imagine we'll be doing the same setup for Air Alpha skip.
Yeah, I can actually skip turning on those fans just with a few claw shots and LJs. And I'm going to try to use bomb airs here just to traverse this fan tower a little faster.
Nice setup from G's.
Nice.
And G's managed to get all of the chests and all of the map pieces on the way to Air Alphas. So, pretty similar to Arbiter's Grounds, we can just save warp here and then go through the second half of the dungeon. But unlike all mirror shards, G's will actually have to go through the part that we skip with that early boss key, the fan trigger skip. So we'll see a bit of movement here that we don't usually see. I suppose also just like Arbiter's Grounds. In, I think, the 100% route, this section is called Claw Shot Everywhere, and I think that is an accurate description.
Oops.
True. It's a very good section. It's kind of sad that it's skipped in any person because it's very nice, very cool to watch. It's very smooth, but I mean, it costs time though.
Yeah, this section of city is very fun when it goes well, but it can also go very poorly very quickly.
Especially in 100% IL, the timing for the p-hats is extremely precise. Because you need to get some extra chests in the room. But we'll see that soon.
Meanwhile, Benamja started the boss fight for City in the Sky of Ardrock, doing a quick first phase by claw-shotting really quick back onto the tower to get Argok down in one cycle. We'll also be shortening the cycles in the second phase by dropping down low enough that Argorok thinks that we fell, so it stops spewing fire and is therefore burning.
Some people describe this fight as an auto-scroller. I personally never thought of it that way. You know, especially with the aiming you can do, and some excuse me, some recent optimizations where you can do flame cancels a little bit faster, and I'll show what a flame cancel is in just a second. Before that, I'm gonna void out. I'm gonna void out because I have to otherwise have to wait for Argorok to like go into the center of the arena, and if I just void out, then instantly it's right there.
Jesus is now going into what I think is one of the hardest rooms in the City of the Sky IL. There are P-hats at the top of this area that are on a cycle, and G's will be needed to make that cycle. In particular, we'll be doing an LJA here to get to this Poe, and also a chest over here. And we need to do this well enough that the P-hat is claw-shottable to leave this area. If not, that's a pretty significant time loss having to do either wait for the next cycle or I can't remember if there's a better backup than trying to escape the arena. And unfortunately, he's... Oh yeah, there is an LJ. Doing an LJ to and get over to the main area. There is also a chest in the far corner of this room, which you normally need to claw-shot a couple of P-hats to get to, and G's will be claw-shotting a P-hat to get to it, but that P-hat is not at a convenient cycle, so it's going to get this heart piece chest here, then leave the room and re-enter to restart the cycle, which puts it in a fairly convenient spot. We skipped over the flame cancels on Badamja's side, but it seemed like a pretty good arc fight.
Yeah. Didn't get to show off the newer optimizations, but if I were to aim better, I would have been able to flame cancel from the second E-hot, which is a little faster. But the strat's a little bit hard because you kind of have to play it dynamically because how long you take to aim changes how you do that strat, because you got to go at the right time. Basically, if you get Argorok to roar as you claw shot, then you can flame cancel a little bit sooner and save about 2 seconds per. Didn't get it, unfortunately. Went late both times, which isn't a big deal, because going late is the same as just not going for it. If I were to go early, it wouldn't be the end of the world, but it would be a lot worse. Also going to skip this. Also going to skip this heart container because you saw earlier I was gathering around hearts from the skulls while waiting for Argorok at the start of the fight, and that should be enough health to get me through the rest of this run.
Yeah, it should be. There are also a few things that you can take damage to in Temple of Time. Not quite as precarious as Snow Peak because they don't do extra damage. They're not fire and ice. But yeah, there's one dungeon left, Temple of Time, and Badamja will be needing to go through Grove 2 to get there.
Right.
Second Sacred Grove trip. Starting with a sometimes dumb bomb boost.
Yep.
Yeah, Baron boost can be a little annoying, but at least I have bombs.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
It's low transforms that does this without a bomb, right?
Yeah, low transformers does this without a bomb, which is pain. Meanwhile, G's doing an LGA to get from the Poe platform to the boss key. I believe the rest of the dungeon is... there is one more chest we need before going to the fan tower. 2 more chests on the way to the fan tower. But otherwise, the rest of this dungeon is the same as the All Mirror Shards version.
Except maybe Argor's fight. I don't know if Jeez has fairy tier for the.
Oh yeah, you would have fairy tears in the IL.
So
To
probably
do a 2 cycle on the
yes.
second phase.
So I could skip this chasing section if I wanted to, but I would probably be here for hours because it's very difficult. So what you can do, so 100% actually does skip this chase sequence with a jump strike, moon boots, bomb boost. But in this category, I don't have jump strike, and it will take a long time to get it if I try. So I could skip it another way with a super jump, and I believe that's what the Hundo task does because it is a little faster. Has been done RTA by me and G's actually, but is very, very hard and a little too hard to be seen in runs currently, unfortunately. But maybe someday it'll be added. Should be pretty cool.
I'm not sure whether it's doable in AMS, but hasn't something been found recently? With
Yes.
some LJS.
Yes, so you can actually skip the fight with a few LJs. Beast found that recently. The LJs aren't the worst. The LJs are kind of like, they're not free, but like if you know what to look for, they're not too bad. The problem is that you spawn with the you have to go through the load zone from the first arena, this first Skull Kid arena, which means you're at the bottom of the rubble, and you have to do a really stupid moon boots jump attack bomb boost, and it's very precise and like double frame perfect. And yeah.
So that was the 3rd hit on Skull Kid. We'll be going to an arena that concludes the chase, and we'll just have 3 more hits for the fight to get into Temple of Time. Or into the area before getting into Temple of Time, which there is another couple of requirements.
G's not getting cool game.
Went pretty early though.
Yep.
Cool game is a pretty precise trick, a pretty precise soft lock. If you claw shot on the first couple of frames possible on Argrok, you won't properly attach yourself to Argrok's tail, and you'll just be flying around forever. Because Twilight Princess is a cool game.
There's also another variant of this, which doesn't cost as much time. If you retract the claw shot on the same frame you hit the tail, then the tail becomes unclaw shotable, and you need to void to reset.
Because Twilight Princess is a cool game. Badamja went and placed the Master Sword, and we'll be doing this portal fight. We only need this portal because it's required to get into, or to get to the other side of the room to get to Temple of Time. I think the door's active before doing it, but we can't get there. And G's should be doing the first cycle on Argarok, the same as Badamja did. Just lowering to get a flame cancel here. But the second cycle will be pretty different.
Yeah, what I'm going through right now is why we do Temple of Time, as mentioned earlier, why we do it last. Because when I leave, I'll actually end up here, not outside of the dungeon. So if I were to do this before City, or for example, I would have had to leave that area, which would be slow.
So G's is currently waiting for the cycle to start, then going to do a side hop, drink the Chew Jelly, and then try to get to the back of Argrok as quickly as possible. The rare Chew Jelly doubles the damage that Link does, so if done correctly, and within the 14-second window that makes this possible, we'll skip the third cycle.
Nice.
Yeah, nicely done from G's. We do have this cutscene, and then, as with the other isles, the timing ends on touching the portal. And hopefully Badamja will not be talking to Uku here.
Let's go.
Nice LJA to skip it. Which only saves like 3 seconds. Temple of Time is one of the most linear dungeons in Twilight Princess. And maybe even the most linear.
Yeah, probably.
So,
Yeah, the
G's and
intended...
Badamja will end up going through the same rooms, just getting different amounts of things in them.
Yeah. Excuse me, sorry. So the intended route is essentially just... Oops. Going through all the rooms like in a line, 'cause it's pretty linear, like Anna was saying. And then after you get the Dominion Rod, you escort the statue back all the way. But I'm actually not going to be escorting any statue, and we'll see why in just a second as I get hit by these spikes. Not just a second, in about like 6 minutes-ish.
You'll be escorting a statue from its
That's
ledge
true.
to a corner, I guess.
I'll be escorting a small
doing
statue.
Doing a nice side hop to get on that elevator as it's rising to skip needing to escort a statue. Looks like G's didn't opt to go for the difficult Moon Boots bomb boost in this room. That's probably a wise decision. Normally ILs are just the dungeon proper, so if there's a really hard trick at the start of the dungeon, you might as well go for it. But in a marathon setting, it is reasonable not to.
Is G's gonna speak to Uku?
That's... I haven't seen that exact setup for the LJA before, but
Me neither.
that did look fast until it failed.
Ah.
This room is one of the larger differences. There are quite a few chests in here, and in particular we'll be needing to defeat a few enemies to get chests to spawn. I say that's one of the larger differences, but there are multiple rooms where we have to defeat all of the enemies to get chests to spawn in Temple of Time.
Yeah. This is one of the rooms where having bombs is very nice. All dungeons, for example, I mean, they have bombs, but like, it's not a great idea to use them here. So they use regular arrows, and it's a lot more annoying. Still kind of annoying just in general, but that room is pretty good. Or this... Yeah. For this run, that went really well. Oops.
Yeah, this room that Badamja's in right now is another one that G's will need to defeat all of the enemies to get a chest to spawn, which defeating all of those little spiders is always a fun time. We didn't talk about it when Badamja was going through, but G's now doing these gate skips, which are fairly precise. We need to press B very shortly after dropping from the clash on target, but getting over is just fine.
So there's a way to skip this fight. Oh wait, is it the fight? Yeah.
No, you have to do the fight. You can skip the
Oh, yeah.
statues placements.
But it is not easy to do. There is a setup, but no one does it because it doesn't save that much time,
Yeah.
and it's not easy.
Well, so yeah, what can you do instead of placing the statues like I'm doing right now is you can put a bomb on the ground, or like drop with the bomb. And I believe the bomb boost itself is like 3 frames, but the jump slash is frame perfect relative to the bomb boost, and that just makes it not worth it. It only saves 8 seconds, but it is really cool. Yeah, if you watch any tasks that does that room, or any recent tasks, you'll see it. Really cool trick.
G's did a little bit of a different route in that room, doing some LJAs instead of rolling up the stairs. That saves a little bit of time, and also opting to do a moon boots to get up to this room slightly quicker. These Armos are pretty much at exactly the right spot for us to just fire 2 arrows from the stairs. Really convenient spacing there.
Yeah. Fun fact, I could have shot those Armos from the opposite side of the room, but if I were to do that, the game would crash, because for some reason, it's like, I think the Armos just aren't loaded properly or something like that. Yeah. Neat little random thing. Here I can actually use
Twilight
bomb
Princess is a
arrows.
cool game.
True.
Yeah,
was
the
pretty
Dark
good.
Nut is very weak to bomb arrows. Each of them doing multiple hits, if aimed properly. I think G's will probably be skipping this fight. I'm not certain though. So that'll get Badamja the Dominion Rod, which is an item in Twilight Princess that is useful in very few places. But it will be
right.
useful for the last big trick in this dungeon, which we'll be doing a save warp to get to. Jeez is going for a moon boots right now over this wall. One thing to know about these walls is they are not as tall as they look. These fences here. The tops where the circles are just don't have collision, so you can go straight over them.
Oops.
And Badamja is going for Door of Time skip. So what you want to do is do a precise angle setup and put that statue in that corner, and well,
Not
you
bad.
clip.
I did bong, but I did clip.
So you need to do, I think it's a frame perfect roll, which makes the statue push you. Is it out of bound or just
Yeah,
through
it
the?
is.
It's
Yeah.
through a gap.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's like a floor gap there, which is just way below, but yeah.
And this is very convenient because it allows us to skip the escort of the
Yeah.
big statue.
I have to get the statue at
He's
all, which
doing
is
a couple more moon boots in that room to get past all of the enemies. But unfortunately, we'll have to defeat all of the enemies in this room, so hopefully that goes well. Great Spin does help. The Argorok fight is a great end to this speedrun because it's just an RNG fest.
Armagoma, yeah. Sid Argrok.
I did say Argorok. Armagoma, yeah. He's claw-shotting all of the enemies to get this 50 rupees. The number of lights that Armagoma goes to is random. It is at least 3 every cycle, but it can be... I got 13 a couple of days ago on one of the cycles.
Damn.
It can be forever, technically. Pretty sure.
Yeah, there's a lot of boss fights in this game where the number of cycles the boss does is just random. And there's like a % chance each time of the attack it does. And like Anna said, with Armagoma, I almost said it too, with Goma, and with the most notorious one being Zelda, which I won't be doing this run. Theoretically be infinite.
There's another thing that can make you lose time. It's the time Armagoma takes to go back up, or at least the path she takes. And it's not RNG. I think it's defined by where how you defeated Armagoma. I'm not sure, but it's not something you can choose or manip as a human. Armagoma is dead.
It looked like a fairly standard Armagoma fight. So
Yep.
time is coming up for Badamja. Oh wait,
Oh wait,
Oh,
huh?
what? Thought I killed
it's
it.
still there?
Huh? What if I blow it up? Will I do? There we go.
Yeah, one bomb arrow finishes the fight. So after the cutscene, time for Badamja is saying yes to Midna to leave the dungeon. And we'll be coming up in a little under a minute, I believe. And Jeez still has a couple of rooms to get to the Darknut. Or one room, just one really long room that feels like multiple rooms. It is another room where you have a bunch of enemies to defeat to spawn a chest. A bunch of those little spiders again. Goblins.
And time.
GG.
GG.
Thank you.
Like a high 110. So, yeah, all of these little goblins on Jesus' side will need to defeat them to spawn in the last non any percentage chest. Been using the boomerang there. Interesting. I didn't get those up on that ledge.
It's
I
funny.
think he wanted to close shot. I'm not sure, but that was interesting.
I don't know why. I thought like once he boomeranged them up the ledge, Jeez was gonna like ending blow them and like get up on the ledge.
Now going into the Darknet fight. I'm pretty sure we do allow the Door of Time skip in the 100% IL, which means all these will need to do is get the Dominion Rod and that same work. So yeah, Jeez will be skipping this fight, doing another Moon Boots. I never liked this Moon Boots. It's a Jump Strike Moon Boots with a bomb boost. Getting it first try, very nice. That is double frame perfect. There might be 2 combinations of frames that work. But you might have 2 frames on the Moon Boots and then 1 frame on the bomb boost, or something like that.
I think there's only 1 frame on the mood boots for this one, and there's 2 for the bomb.
Yeah, but then the rest of the dungeon is the same as Badamja's. Just gonna do Door of Time skip and defeat Armagoma. Meanwhile, it looks like Badamja's heading over to the 5th dungeon of the fishing pond.
That's right. The secret roll goal dungeon. My favorite.
G's unfortunately needing to line up the angle from door time skip again. I'm very glad that we have an angle set up for this trick. It used to just be use the Dominion Rod to get the statue over in the corner, and then roll until you get it.
Oh, nice. Very nice statue. For some reason, this statue is extremely weird to hit with the Dominion Rod. I'm not sure what you need to do to make sure you're gonna hit it, but sometimes it just doesn't work. And here's the Armagomo fight.
The roll goal level 1-1 might be a little more interesting.
I don't have rupees. Oops.
There's a dig spot right outside the
Oh, okay.
fishing pond.
I've also only ever done this on Wii. I imagine it's easier on GameCube, but
Theoretically. It's like behind the sign outside of the fishing pond. Sorry.
oh,
I don't know if there are any rupees inside.
I'll try this grass
Leave
leaf.
through the door. Meanwhile, it seems like a fairly standard Armagoma fight for G's.
Yeah.
Same sort of case of just RNG number of lights to go to. There isn't really a way to speed up this fight. And yeah, for this IL and for the Hyrule Castle ILs, having a big RNG boss at the end of the run can be quite frustrating to grind. But that's it. That's the end of Armagoma's first phase. We'll just need that one bomb arrow and finish.
Yeah, it's gonna be the same cutscene, and G's is gonna end on touching the portal.
Nope.
Oh.
It was 2 bomb arrows.
I can't believe that missed, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, that was interesting.
As with the other ones,
The mirror shard. Yep.
yeah, as with the other ones, G's will need to get the heart container and then touch the portal to end. So time for G's coming up. And time.
GG.
GG.
GG to both runners.
GG. Good run, but
Yeah, good run. That was a lot of fun.
and you went so fast.
Yeah, I got
GG.
a little lucky with the bubble clipping and Pogate skip in general.
Yeah, that was fast.
Arbiters went well.
Yeah, with Pogate Skip being such a new trick, it was not a guarantee that we would get it first try. Especially when the moon boots at the end is very precise.
Yeah. Yeah, you were playing well, geez. There's um, what's it called? Dense stuff, a lot of hard tricks, like constantly. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
impressive.
I cooked a little bit, especially in 8G.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was good.
Mhm.
I mean, decent. The sum of all my PPs is 112, but it's so hard to play that fast. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was very cool.
Yeah, full race.
Yep, very neat. And I love these categories. They're both really interesting. 100% ILs have always been my favorite over any percent ILs. Really cool to showcase this at RAF.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad.
If anyone's interested in learning how to speedrun Twilight Princess, I highly recommend it. Really fun game to speedrun, and the community is great. Resources are really good. ZSR for Twilight Princess is really up there. It's easy to get started. Lots of members of the community eager to answer questions. Discord.gg/TP is a Discord for Twilight Princess speedrunning. And ZeldaSpeedruns.com has guides and resources for speedrunning all the Zelda games. And yeah, highly recommend it. But yeah, I want to say,
Looks like,
go ahead.
it looks like they've changed the game name on stream, so I think that's our cue to
Okay.
pass it over to Variety. But if you have a couple last words.
Oh yeah, I just want to say thank you so much, Variety, for giving me the opportunity to run. It was a lot of fun. Thank you for hosting. And GG's G's, and thanks Cass and Anno for commentating. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you everyone. And I'm glad I was able to showcase some ILs. I think it's the first time I'm able to, given I love those.
Yeah, I was
It's,
sick.
Yeah. Thanks for the comms and thanks for having us.
On to you, Variety.
All right. Thank you very much, everyone. Yes, me changing the game and category and stuff was an accident. I meant to do it for the BRB screen, but this works as well. Just want to remind everyone that we have affiliated this channel, so you are free to subscribe and donate bits for RAF funds for future events and art and emotes and layouts and so many more things in the future. So if you want to help support Rejects and Friends in their endeavors to make sure that this community is well represented in the speedrunning world, then please go ahead and do that. Also, as a reminder, we now have a public Discord server and a sort of resume builder sort of community showcase form that you can use for marathon submissions as well. So exclamation points, schedule, Discord, and resume and chat. And we'll transition over to a small break, and then we'll be back with